What's up, guys? Alright, here's an update. I have done all the changes that I said I was going to make from the last video. If I can remember correctly, the one thing that needed to change was this standpipe. So I went from 1.5 inches to 2 inch. As you can see, the water's a little bit cloudy. Not so bad though. Anyway, the 2-inch standpipe comes up, comes over, goes down, comes up into the bottom of the radial flow filter. The radial flow filter goes out, right? And in the previous video, this pipe here was 1-inch distribution, and I decided, well, since you know what, I had all this extra 1-inch, 1.5-inch pipe right here, I could put it over there. So I did that. I increased the distribution pipe going down. As you can see, I got the lava rock, and I'll share a little bit towards the end of the video about that. Anyway, it's 1.5 inches, 1 inch, 1.5 inches to 1 inch, down to a 1 inch at the very last end. All right, no, got something green growing up in there. I think that's our first squash plant. I planted it on the end because it's going to wind up getting big and probably hanging off the backside. Everything is still clicking though. I got this sump tank, and you can see it down in the bottom over there. I added another sump tank for more capacity, and I got a 2-inch in between there. And it'll wind up, it's pretty much evened out now. It's overflowed about twice since the grow beds have drained off and gotten back up, and I want to leave this covered to keep too much of the rainwater out. Whenever you get the rainwater in, it kind of takes away from the nutrients of the water to the fish. Other than that, those are the changes, and I think we've got us a fully functional system here. Oh, something else that I did too is I added a coupling to the standpipe there, and that's to help create more siphon. And I did that on all of them. You can hear this one over here burping. It's about to break siphon. It's already dropped down. So, and what I did on these here too is because the water level was just a little bit too high, and the height of that standpipe determines the level, your water bed level. And I wanted it to be about 1 inch below the rock surface, and it was coming up, and it might be 1 inch below, but I needed it to be a layer of rock below the surface, so these rocks on top weren't getting wet, and that helps to keep algae build up and all that other stuff, and it prevents you from having to clean your grow beds as often. The only thing I don't like about the lava rock is the fact that dude is, they're chunks, and they're coarse and rough. But I have gone to several different material places, and I have tested. There's a simple test that you can do to make sure that the gravel or whatever that you're using isn't toxic to the fish, and that's part of the demonstration that I'm going to show you this evening. I didn't know this. Of course, I'm a graduate of YouTube University, so I've watched many a YouTube video on this. There's a couple of guys that I like watching specifically. Rob Bob's Backyard Aquaponics is good. He's an Australian that every time he turns it on, man, he's got some neat stuff going on. He's primarily the guy that I pay attention to, but he reiterates most of what everybody else reiterates in the aquaponics. But the trick is white vinegar, right? So I've got lava rock, I got some gravel that's in my driveway, and it's a different type of gravel over here. This is more like a riverbed gravel or whatever. And if you notice, whenever I put it in, aside from the just air caught in the rock, there's a little bit of bubble going on, but I mean that's just because it's a real porous rock, right? So we come over here and we drop this driveway gravel in, and I ain't done nothing to none of these other than just pick them up and put them in. And you'll notice pretty quick that dude fizzing like Alka-Seltzer, opposed to this over here to where it's relatively clear and just got air pocket bubbles coming up. That dude there, it's like it's on medication. And again, I have gone to several different material providers. I've had a buddy that he's a dispatcher at a gravel pit, and he said, "Man, I got whatever you need, and I'll go out there to test it." And that stuff there is fizzing like Alka-Seltzer too. So what this is a chemical reaction to the acidity that is in the vinegar, right? And what that does is it has a chemical reaction to the ammonia that the fish dispel. If I'm getting this right, don't hold me to this, and don't try to take me to horticulture or fish school or whatever. But whenever they dispel whatever they dispel from their gills, which I guess would be ammonia, it has a chemical reaction to the rocks that have this reaction to the vinegar. It's the same acidity or the same ammonia level or whatever it might be. But anyway, in the beginning, you get nice, pretty, riverbed rocks in your grow bed and all that, and everything's clicking like it's supposed to for the next couple of weeks or maybe the next couple of months, and then all of a sudden you start having fish die on you, and you don't know why, and this is the reason why. The most of the time, from my understanding, right? I'm just reiterating what I've been chewing on, like a cow chewing its cud. I'm just regurgitating it. So all else fails, I couldn't find any gravel I couldn't find peat gravel. I couldn't find a good marble type, crushed marble or anything like that I could one, afford, and two, test. It come down to going to the big box store and getting lava rock. So here we've got lava rock. We went to Trades Day today, and we got some Rama tomato plants, and I got some hot banana pepper plants in there. But what you want to do is make sure that you soak out all the soil and stuff out of your plants before you put them in your grow bed. Otherwise, you're going to have really nasty water. And we spend too much time getting all this set up to have nasty water. Something else that I did too, or not necessarily me, I had my kids working. Before I put the lava rock in here, I actually had I had two of my other barrels split in half sitting over there, and we had them filled up with water, and we used one for the initial rinse off, and we dropped it down. We had part of a trampoline net that goes around the edge of the trampoline. We had that, and we used that as a seiner or a strainer or whatever, and rinsed out the rocks real good before we put them into the system. Man, I'm kind of tickled, man. This dude's starting to siphon and do its thing the way it's supposed to, man. Anyway, I got a big crater there for that tomato plant. Hey, man. But anyway, we double washed the lava rocks before we put them in here, and it working out pretty good. You got nice constant flow going. Something else that I found at Trades Day too was a 12-volt air compressor. So what's going to take place there is I'm going to put that on a solar charger with a 12-volt battery and have it hooked all up to a switch. And right up in here, if you see, the water level's right at the top of that 2-inch pipe. Well, whenever the pump shuts off, that water level goes to the very bottom part of that pipe. I mean, it goes down. So there's 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches of water level. So what I'm going to do right over here, I'm going to pop a hole, and I'm going to put a little float switch. So whenever that float drops down, whenever the water level drops down, it's going to kick that switch on to where that air compressor will turn on, and I'm going to have air stones down here in the bottom. So if anything ever happens and the flow of water stops to the fish tank and it drops down to that certain level, it'll kick that air on, so they'll have oxygen in the water, and it'll save the fish, you know, until I'm able to get back and figure out what the problem is, if ever there is one. But knowing me, nothing can be easy. It always got to be hard, so we're just banking on that backup. Amen. Alrighty, and with that, folks, I do believe that we are DUN on this update. I do believe we're gonna. So this week we're gonna load up the grow beds with plants, and next week, I think next weekend we'll go get fish for the fish tank. Go get goldfish, those feeder fish. Something else that I was talking about, I was talking to a brother of mine just an hour or so ago, and what I'm thinking I'm going to do is take a trough or some pipe. As a matter of fact, it's going to be some pipe. It's going to be 6-inch PVC that he actually gave me, that I'm going to run. I'm going to run it just above where that 2-inch drain pipe is on the outside here, and I'm going to cut slots in the top of it, and I'm going to run it the length of this here and dump it in. I might even dump it into this extra sump tank, and use that as, you know, have it low enough to where we can actually, like, maybe put corn or put okra. I'm going to run okra regardless, but I'm thinking I'm going to hang that off that edge and run, you know, the tall growing okra or corn or something to that effect. Fill it up with gravel as well, and I don't know if I'll put a bell siphon on it or just set the level of it to where they've got a constant flow of water, and it'll drain back into the sump tanks. I think that'll be pretty cool. All right, though. So that's the update for this time. And whenever we start doing some changes and whenever we get the fishies in and all that, I'll give you another update. Thank y'all. Talk to y'all later. God bless.